got one started, but I'm going to show you how to create another one, and then I'll go back into that. So what you want to do to create a Google form is you want to go to Create Form. It gives you a bunch of options. It says Form Settings. Do you want the Ulysses login to require to look at this form? You can automatically collect respondents, including their usernames. You don't have to do that, but it's encouraged sometimes. Show progress bar at the bottom. You can only allow one response per person, so this requires them that they cannot log in and take it again and again to get a better score. So I will do only one response. And then you can shuffle order the questions if you're going to keep everything in the same page. Now, my test I cannot have in multiple pages or in one page because of the images and the questions that I'm trying to show. So this one will not work for me, but if you were going to put all of your questions in one, then you could use shuffle order. So what you want to do first is make sure you give it a name, and what I'm going to do is, instead of continuing on this one, I'm going to switch over to the other one that I already have started. So, as you can see, I have Publisher Test as my title, and I make the kids make sure that they put their first name and their last name in there, so then that way I make sure that I have the scores in the correct order. Now, it's probably better to do last name first, so then that way when you go into your Google Sheets for grading, that you can easily integrate your scores. Then what I did was it had a option, so if I switch back to the untitled form, like you're working in, so if I wanted to do test, it's going to give you this option for a question title, or what is your question? So my question is, what is this button? And if I want it to be matching, the best way to do matching is choose from a list. So then you can put option 1, 2, 3. So if I go back to my publisher test, you can see my button, and I actually have, if I scroll down here, 56 buttons from them to choose from. Now, on this button, on this question, at the bottom, you will be able to see advanced settings. One advantage is if you've got kids sitting next to each other or taking it on a computer, you don't want them to see the same order every time or every question. So I would click on shuffle order, which I did, which is what I want. And then you just hit done to save your question. Now, if you are putting in more than, I put in 56, I had to type each one of these options because as of right now, Google Forms does not have the option that if you create a Word document with commas in between, that it'll automatically put each option in. So you will have to type in all of the options that you want available. So then what I did was down to the bottom again and hit done. That saves your question. Then I wanted to make sure I put the button in the correct place. So I had to go in and all of my little images, and the reason that I cannot do multiple questions on one page is because I can only include one image per page of the form. So you can see here I have page 2 and this one that I have on this page 1. So I inserted my image. To add an image, I'm going to show you how to do that also. So I'm getting ready to start my page 2. To get my page 2, I just went to item and I went to page break. So I'm going to add item. So I'm going to go to add item, and I'm going to add an image. It says drag an image. So I'm going to actually click to upload, and I'm going to go into my flash drive. And I'm using my paper here to show me what icons I have in order. So that way I kind of match at least the order that I used to have them in, so I know for sure I'm not matching the specific order of the options I put in. So computer apps, and here's all my icon pictures. So my next one is undo. So I'm going to open, and it uploads fairly quickly. So then I have to scroll down, and as you can see, it's got my image. Now, an easy way, once you have your second page created, you can duplicate a question that you have all of your drop-down options on. Click on the little duplicate, which is the two papers. It gives you the second question. I'm going to come down, and I'm going to hit. And the only thing I don't like about this is there is a lot of scrolling up and down. So you can see I have two what is this button questions up here. I'm going to click and hold on one and drag it down to my page 2. So then that way it's above my image. The next thing is if you're going to do 56 pages or 56 questions, now all I have to do is click on the duplicate. So I duplicate the page, I come to my image, and I actually hover over it and press, and then I just go add item, upload. Click, and you will notice your drop down box is still there, still the same. I'm going to click done. I'm going to duplicate page 3. So now I have 4 pages. Hover over my image again. Add item. And next one in. I have several more that I need to do, but I want to show you kind of some other things that you can do with your Google form to make it more interesting. You can change the name, which this is a computer, so I'm going to scroll down and I don't see anything that looks real techy. So I'm going to use this one that says homework. Gives it a nice look for your test. Now, what you can do is you can view your responses, or you can view the form in live view. So live form, and it shows you what it looks like totally when the students. So I'm going to go ahead and try to take my test. And the main thing with Google Forms is to make sure that you take your test first. And notice when I created the question that my first one was advertisements, and it was actually in alphabetical order. Well, now they are jumbled, and that is because we chose the shuffle option. You do not have to choose that shuffle option. I think it would just make it easier for my students if I shuffle it so I can hinder. So then you can notice that my next questions aren't there. So I have to hit continue. And continue again. That must be a blank question. So here's my next question. So I can go and take the part that's going to take my students the longest is probably to find the actual question. So then you click submit, which submits the test. So now, if you go into your Google Drive, which is up here at the top, on Publisher Test Response, it's going to show you the time that it was taken, your name, says which button is this, and there's save and paste, which were two of the ones that I took, and then there were several others. So this is how you would actually look at your scores. Then there is this cool little thing that's called an add-on, and you can get the add-on by clicking on add-ons and get add-ons, and you're going to select search, you're going to search Flubberoo, which is this one right here. And I already have it on my device, but it'll show you an overview of how it works. So I'm just going to close that. And I'm going to go to my add-ons and go to Flubberoo and enable Flubberoo on this sheet. And click OK. So I enabled it. So now I'm going to go to add-ons and I'm going to grade assignments under Flubberoo. So you have apparently enough submissions for it to actually choose from. So if I had more in, it would actually grade it for you and tell you the right ones. You would pick what cell, so you would use the one that had your name in it to choose from to grade. And it would also give you the options of what row or columns you do not want to grade. So I'm going to go back. And if you're not done editing your test, say you're still working on it, it's a work, you can still go to edit questions. So I had an error in mine. You can go to edit questions and scroll down through and notice that 2 and 4 are blank, which they shouldn't have been because I put 2 more in there. So I'm going to go back in here and re-put them in. And image. The nice thing about doing this in Google Forms is once you have created it, all you have to do is continually go back in and you will have it forever. But that's an overview of how you can use a matching test for or in Google Forms.